Hey, what's going on? It's Brian here from Live from the Lounge Radio, and we made it through another week, folks, and I hope you had a great week and a great weekend coming up, and I hope everybody's staying safe out there. And what's wonderful is we are in the heart of springtime here in our neck of the woods. We had a touch of a heat wave during the week, but to me, this is the weather that I enjoy the most, because it's not like July and August where it's like 150,000 degrees outside. It's just right, upper 80s, low 90s. I can deal with that. But if you're inside and you're chilling today, I got some great tunes lined up for you and great people that play those tunes. 4 o'clock Pacific time, we have Hopper in the morning at the Hop. Good times, great oldies. Classic oldies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And of course, Hopper has his ear to the street on events happening in our local area here in the southern San Joaquin Valley of California. So he's always got something to talk about in regards to events happening. And of course, he's also big on the car show circuit. So he'll have some information about that during his show. So be sure you check that out today at 4 p.m. Pacific time at the Hop. Good times, great oldies with Hopper in the morning. And then right after he gets done, we have at 5 p.m. Pacific time, it is the Hard Drive at 5 with the Brumster. More great rock and roll from Brumster's catalog of great tunage. And of course, words and wisdom from the Brumster himself throughout the show. So that's happening 5 o'clock Pacific time here on Live from the Lounge Radio. The Hard Drive at 5 with Sir Brumster. And then right after he gets done, the vinyl comes to play here inside the lounge. I have for you Friday Night Vinyl going back to 40 years ago, 1981. Wow, it's hard to believe that the 80s were 40 years ago, especially the early part of the 80s, 1981 to be exact. And 2 great albums released that year are on the turntable tonight, including this one that was released in July of 1981. It was Def Leppard's second studio album called High and Dry. To me, it's their best album. And I know the other albums are good, Pyromania and Hysteria. But to me, this is the last great, raw, hard rock Def Leppard album. Because unfortunately, in the 80s, things start to get overproduced. And a song off of this album got that treatment a few years later when they reissued the High and Dry album from the success of Pyromania. They re-recorded, well, not re-recorded, they remixed Bringing on the Heartbreak, and they added keyboards to it. I remember when that came out and I was like, what did they do to this song? Not knowing that the mid-1980s was going to be the revenge of the keyboard and reverb and overproduction on a lot of music. And a lot of artists suffered that fate, and some of that music does not hold up very well because it is so overproduced and all this reverb and keyboards and things. But this is the last great raw Def Leppard album right here, High and Dry from 1981, album number 1 tonight here on Friday Night Vinyl. And then album number 2, Ozzy's second solo album, Diary of a Madman. Released in November of 1981. This is album number 2 tonight. And the title track to this album, to me, is one of Randy Rhoads' finest moments. Randy Rhoads is a guitar player that played on the first 2 Ozzy albums before he was unfortunately killed in a plane crash the following year in 1982 while they were out on tour. If you hear the riff on Diary of a Madman, it's going to make you want to turn things up to 11 and beyond, because to me that is just one of those riffs that just hits you right in the face. I mean, it's just such a great riff. Randy, top of his game, one of the greatest guitar players ever. Unfortunately, his career was cut short the following year with his untimely death. But great Ozzy album. It's on a picture disc. And I know what you're saying to yourself, picture discs. How's the sound quality? Well, if you remember the old picture discs from 20, 30, 40 years ago, the sound quality was not the greatest. But this one here is a remastered version of Diary of a Madman, and the sound quality is actually pretty good on here. So you'll hear it tonight transmitting out of your speakers, I should say, or headphones or whatever you listen to us on. This is album number 2 tonight, Diary of a Madman from Ozzy Osbourne. And then right after Ozzy gets done, and the vinyl. Of course, it is Friday Night Loud, your weekly showcase for classic hard rock, hair bands, and old school metal. That happens right after the vinyl is finished. And I don't know if you've noticed, during the week, after 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Thursday, we've been rocking a little harder with the classic hard rock. And I just started doing that this week. And so that's going to be a regular thing that's going to be happening during the week. So I hope you're enjoying some of the heavier classic rock. And then I go a little deeper with Friday Night Loud on Friday nights. And then, of course, tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. Pacific time, it is the Flashback Lounge, your classic new wave and classic punk rock from the 70s and 80s program. And then right after that, at 9 o'clock Pacific time, it is X Generation Radio, the rock of the 90s. All right, soundtrack for your weekend and work week is all set. And I hope you have a great one, and I'll see you next week.